Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of your real estate show with thanks to Harcourts Tasmania. We've got a great episode for you tonight. We take a look at a classic heritage icon in Tasmania. It's crying out for its potential to be realised. We also speak with Real Estate Institute of Australia President Adrian Kelly about how Tasmania is tracking in a national context with a federal election looming. We also visit the agri-tourism hotspot of the Coal River Valley to see what's happening across that region. And we go behind the scenes at a new shack build. It's a $1 million plus build at Bridport and it's pretty special. But first tonight we track down the Midland Highway to visit a piece of Australian history. Welcome to Cleveland, population around about 20 people. I've never once in my entire life of being a Tasmanian been to the San Andreas Zen, but you have it on the market, Nikkei.
Yes, Rachel. Look, coming to market, built in 1845, a very iconic landmark of not only the Midlands but the Tasmanian area. Being utilised as a cafe B&B and also ideal for having meetings at the property.
So certainly a very special property architecturally. It is heritage listed, but the right owner could really make a go of this business, couldn't they?
Yes, they could. Look, it has got some established goodwill, but if you're hospitality, accommodation minded, look, it's got so much potential.
Well, thanks, Nick. I'll take a look through inside for the first time ever. I'm a bit excited, and you stay out here looking at this beautiful view of Stacks Bluff.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. The thing I love about these gorgeous old buildings is the beautiful floorboards, the really high ceilings. This room's currently used as a cafe, and then come through to this communal area where lots of local people meet halfway between Hobart and Launceston to have their meetings. Behind me is what they refer to as the Bushrangers Bar, and story has it the Bushrangers would sit here, have a few drinks and plot their robberies at nearby Epping Forest. And up these stairs to the 3 bedrooms with en-suites, there actually is a friendly ghost called Lucy who lived, worked and died here. She was a convict and occasionally she comes and visits the guests. This is one of the bedrooms with ensuite that they use for Airbnb. I think with a coat of paint, a little bit of TLC and some new furnishings, it actually could be something quite special. For any cooks or chefs out there, there's also a large commercial kitchen. Well, Nick, it certainly does have potential. Bakery, wine bar, cafe, little shop perhaps for boutique. How much are we going to have to spend on it?
It's coming to market at best offers over $699,000, Rachel, and I look forward to arranging a private inspection here as soon as possible.
Wonderful. Come and have a look through. Give Nikkei a call at Harcourts Northern Midlands. Well, after a year of COVID stimulus, those interested in politics have their eyes firmly set on a looming federal budget, which is looking to be quite tough, and also speculation that Prime Minister Scott Morrison is going to call an election before the end of the year. We're now joined by the President of the Real Estate Institute of Australia, Adrian Kelly, to talk about how Tassie's faring in the context of the nation and also what expectations we have ahead of the budget. Hello to you, Adrian.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
Oh, our absolute pleasure. Now, give me a little bit of an idea. From all indicators, Tassie seems to be doing really well in the real estate world. How are we tracking compared to the rest of the nation?
Well, it's certainly very different to what we were expecting this time last year, and there was plenty of forecasting of 10, 20, 30% value reductions in terms of property prices, and that just hasn't happened. In fact, it's gone the other way. it's almost a bit of a Y2K moment for us here in Tasmania, and I suppose largely that's due to the fact that we managed, by and large, to keep the pandemic under control, which meant that we could continue to trade. So what we're seeing is now that COVID has proven that we can work from home and we didn't break the NBN, that people want to move here. They were wanting to move here to live a healthy, happy, sustainable life, with Tasmania still being reasonably affordable, and that's just been exacerbated post-COVID. So it'll be interesting to see how 2021 plays out.
It will be indeed. It's going to be a big year politically. I know that the REIA has made a submission to the federal government ahead of the budget. Give us a bit of an insight into what's that. I understand you've had an area of concern around property tax.
Look, every year the federal government asks us for submissions, so and it's available on our website for anyone who wants to read the document. Property tax is a big one, obviously, and here in Tasmania, stamp duty and land tax accounts for about a third of the total tax budget for the Tasmanian government. So property is certainly well and truly taxed, that's for sure. So we'll keep banging the drum about why property is so taxed, because it doesn't do anything for property values and it doesn't do anything for first home buyers, that's for sure.
And stamp duty, always a concern for people buying homes. What do you want to see happen with that?
Well, there needs to be a better way of managing the tax budget, and every state across the country has stamp duty in some form, with the exception of the ACT. They're actually moving to a broad-based tax system, so it'll be interesting to watch that example as a bit of a litmus test. But the days of stamp duty really need to be gone.
And you've also suggested a tax deduction for first home buyers. How would that actually work?
Well, first home buyers have always found it difficult to get into the market, and probably their biggest difficulty is saving for a deposit. So this may not help that. But what has worked well in other countries, and it's never been done in Australia, is for first home buyers to be able to claim the interest that they've paid in terms of their mortgage repayments. And we're suggesting that's capped something like $4,000 or $5,000. But that would certainly put them on a level playing field with rental property investors, for example, who can claim some of the costs associated with holding a property.
And you've also recommended an expansion of the first home loan deposit scheme?
Yeah, well, that particular scheme was a massive success, and the first 10,000 places were soaked up pretty quickly last year, and the government's released another 10,000. The problem is the second 10,000 hasn't been used completely. That's because only about 10% of first home buyers actually choose to build a new home, and at the moment the scheme only applies to new builds, if that makes sense. So we're asking the federal government now to expand that scheme, which I say has been a big success across existing homes as well, and that would be particularly popular here in Tasmania, where the rate of first home ownership for first home buyers is pretty much amongst the established property market.
Yeah, no, it's certainly going well. And just finally, one for the ages, negative gearing.
Look, negative gearing, and yeah, that became a bit of a slogan, didn't it, during the last federal election? It'll be interesting to see what the various political parties roll out this time around. If our view is that negative gearing is going to be looked at, or an alternative, then it should be looked at in terms of the total taxation budget. Not forgetting that negative gearing also applies to other asset classes like shares and that sort of thing. So if we're going to make a change for the property market, then we need to look at a bit more of a holistic approach, I suppose, to put it mildly. Okay,
well, we'll wait and see if your submissions made it to the powers that be.
We'll see how we go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Adrian.
Thanks,
Kelly.
Rachel. Good to be with you.
It's now time for your lifestyle segment with thanks to Snooze Launceston. We ventured to the northeast seaside town of Bridport, where work is underway on a very exciting $1 million plus build. We're here with Aaron Seen, who's working on one of the most exciting projects that Bridport has seen in quite a while in Westwood Street. Aaron, tell us a little bit about this not-so-little shack that you're building.
Yeah, so it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, with a lot of courtyard and deck space for entertaining. I think the client's a bit of a entertaining guru, so
It certainly looks like it's an amazing facade to it, and as you say, the entertaining areas. There's some challenges in building that, I understand?
Yeah, well, we have to recess all the doors into the concrete, so everything has to be to the millimetre, being that it's exposed concrete. There's not a lot of room for error. You can't just chuck a bit more concrete in and fix it up, so it has to be done in one shot.
And what are the other challenges that might come with building a big property like this right on the amazing waterfront there here at Bridport? There's obviously challenges in coastal building.
Yeah, definitely access and having suppliers nearby isn't the easiest, but even challenges like this driveway, getting the concrete trucks bogged and spending about 5 hours longer than we should have on the initial footing plan, so just things like that. But other than that, it should be all pretty smooth, I think.
Yeah. And so this, what we can see now that's already been done, that's the actual size of the house, the concrete bits. And then what's this bit here where you've got the dirt that you're putting in?
So that there's mostly just a courtyard through here, so just another sort of sheltered entertaining area, because it does get quite windy with that shore front there. Then there's another little deck space for entertaining over here and again over here, so.
But look at the view, and I understand a few of you have taken the tops off and gone for a swim at lunchtime on the hot days.
Yeah, definitely on the hot days when you've got sunscreen all over you and you're covered in dirt. It's nice to go and have a little wash off.
Yeah, and so this project, I think it's going to take another 8 months to complete, but when it's finished, it's actually not going to be too much of a standout thing. It's going to be quite good for the neighbours. They're not going to be impacted, are they?
Yeah, it shouldn't really obstruct anyone's view too much, and hopefully it should look pretty good from their decks and whatnot. But no, it shouldn't hinder anyone, but still give the client a good view themselves.
Yeah, and as far as Westwood Street, obviously a prime location. I know a property just up the road sold for over $2 million last year, so prime real estate.
Yeah, well, I think the build's about 1.1 million, so it's going to be one of the nicer ones getting around, I reckon.
Excellent. We'll come back in a few months and see how your progress is going.
Cool. Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you. The Coal River Valley, just outside of Hobart, is growing as an agri-tourism hotspot, and it's also really popular for young first home buyers given its proximity close to the capital city. We caught up with Coal River farm owner Daniel Leesong to have a little look at what's happening across the region with thanks to homely.com.au.
The Coal River region's quite a diverse area. It runs from Cambridge all the way through to Richmond, Campania, Colebrook. It's an area that's largely agricultural historically, but is now light industrial, residential, hosts some of the world's best small boutique vineyards in the cool climate market space. From a personal perspective, we've lived here before we were business operators here, so we bought into the region as residents, just simply because we thought that there was no better place in terms of views, location to airport, 10 minutes away, locations to Hobart CBD. Well, the location is a real bonus. Cambridge, only 15 minutes from the CBD of Hobart, and yet 2 minutes away from some of Australia's best vineyards, some of the best agri-tourism products as well. Properties that do get listed in the Cambridge area do move relatively quickly, and certainly prices have increased, so demand is there. Cambridge is much more suburban in terms of aspirational families and people wanting to work either in the city or in Richmond or in Sorell and other neighbouring districts. Richmond is one of the most iconic tourism destinations and old villages with the oldest bridge in Australia, the oldest jail in Australia, which attracts a lot of people there. Subsequently, residential prices there are more expensive, more premium, but there's a reason for that. It's because it's a great little village environment and just a beautiful place. It's just a great little community that's going to stay that way. Heavily protected by heritage laws as well. So for those seeking a quieter environment but still with a vibrant business community, that's what that appeal is. We have great faith in this region in the long term. It already hosts the world's best whiskey, which is only 200 metres from where we live. We won world's best cheese, or gold medals, only last year. You've got a number of world's best just along this little tiny strip, and we can only see that continuing in the future just because all the ingredients are there. There's no reason why we can't be playing in the premium end of the market.
Well, that's it for your real estate show with thanks to Harcourts for this week. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. And of course, we'd love to hear from you if you have any ideas or insights into any special projects happening right across the state that we could follow. But for now, thanks for joining us. I'm Rachel Williams. Bye for now.